I'm Daniel with Equality Texas, and this is the legislative update for Friday, April 24th, the 102nd day of the Texas Legislature's 140-day regular session. It's been a rough week here at the Capitol, but despite all the bad news you may have been hearing, there's lots of good news to report. On Monday, the House Criminal Jurisprudence Committee heard HB 71 by Representative Mary González. The bill would equalize the state's Romeo and Juliet defense, ending the legal criminalization of LGBT teen dating. Parents, not police, should be responsible for helping their kids make good dating decisions, and HB 71 helps make that possible. On Wednesday, the bill was unanimously reported out of the committee. Hopefully, it'll be headed to the floor soon. You can use our Action Center to contact your state representative in support of the bill. We'll put the link in the notes. Also on Wednesday, the House State Affairs Committee heard HB 3567 by Sanford. This bill is a little tricky. So, on the surface, what it's trying to do is already covered by state law. Namely, the bill wants to ensure that churches and clergy who don't approve of a particular marriage don't have to recognize it. Now, I was raised in a church where we were taught in Sunday school that interracial marriage is a violation of God's plan. And as disgusting as that is, that church had every right to teach that, and every right to preach it, and every right to restrict the use of its facilities to weddings it didn't approve of. The freedom of religion protects the right of religious institutions to teach things that are contrary to public sentiment. But HB 3567 goes a step further, and this is where the problem is. HB 3567, as it's currently written, would allow a clergy person to use their religious belief to discriminate, even if they were not acting in an ecclesiastical function. So, if you had a part-time pastor who was also employed by, say, DPS, they could refuse to issue a driver's license to someone in their married name if they disagreed with that person's marriage for whatever reason. Maybe because the person divorced and remarried, or they'd marry someone of a different faith, or maybe because they're married to someone of the same gender, once that becomes legal in Texas. It would also allow that pastor, if employed in the private sector, to sue their employer if they're required to treat all customers fairly without discrimination. You know, we really don't want the state to be in the position of deciding who is or isn't real clergy. So this opens a huge loophole where anyone who wants to discriminate can simply declare themselves the pastor of a religion and use that as an excuse. Now, we're talking to Sanford's office about this, and hopefully we'll be able to close what I hope is simply an error in drafting. Also on Wednesday, HB 4105 by Cecil Bell was voted out of the House State Affairs Committee, and HB 3864 by Scott Sanford was voted out of the Juvenile Justice and Family Issues Committee. HB 4105 is one of 4 bills by Bell, attempting to stave off the anticipated freedom to marry ruling by the Supreme Court. Now, this one adds largely duplicative language to the family code, prohibiting the recognition by the state of a marriage between 2 people of the same gender. And then it says that if the courts rule that the state does have to recognize such a marriage by the state, then the state, rather than the county, gets to keep any fees collected with the issuing of marriage license. It's a pretty interesting way to raise money for the state, but the counties really get the short end of the stick on that one. HB 3864 creates an Indiana-style license to discriminate for child welfare service providers that would prohibit government contracts from requiring that taxpayer-funded services provided by those providers be provided without discrimination. It's effectively a guarantee of taxpayer-funded discrimination. Now, both of these bills, along with the Romeo and Juliet bill, now go to the powerful 15-member Calendars Committee, which will decide when and if they're heard on the House floor. So, with 38 days left in the session, here's where we are. More than 20 Equality Texas opposed bills have been filed. More than 30 Equality Texas supported bills have been filed. 2 Equality Texas opposed bills have gotten out of committee. 3 Equality Texas supported bills have been out of committee. That's the Romeo and Juliet bill I mentioned before, plus Sylvester Turner's Homeless Youth Study Bill, HB 679, and Representative Joe Desotel's Gestational Agreement Bill, HB 1704. No Equality Texas opposed bills have gotten out of their originating chamber, and 2 Equality Texas supported bills are out of their originating chamber. That's HB 679 and 1704 again. So, not too bad, all things considered. But the next few weeks are particularly vital. Monday, May 11th is the last day for House committees to vote out most House bills. So any House bill that's not out of committee by then, good or bad, is dead. The Senate deadline's a little bit trickier to pin down, but it's basically May 17th. Then most House bills have to be voted out of the House by May 15th, and Senate bills have to be voted out of the Senate. Well, again, that's kind of hard to pin down, but basically it's May 21st. That means that it's more important than ever to be vigilant. I know we ask you to contact your lawmakers all the time, but if you've ever ignored that request, not that any of y'all would do that. These next few weeks are the time to please take it seriously. Until next week, I'm Daniel with Equality Texas.